After a few months of pure ineptitude by Rob Manfred, the MLB season has finally taken off and is well on its way. But these changes, again, were out of pure necessity, like a 60-game season. While other changes like a universal DH were definitely a welcome sight. But we want to figure out, is Rob Manfred going to keep hitting us with changes, or is this MLB just going to stay the way it is?
I, for one, am a huge fan of all the changes. I think that the universal DH is long overdue.
Long overdue.
I think that a shorter season, I think that it should be in the conversation. I think maybe it should happen.
I think 90 games might be a sweet spot of like, it's still a marathon, there's still plenty of games to be played, but rarity increases value in anything.
Totally.
Whether it's some dumb Supreme hoodie or whether it's sports games, you look at NFL, people have to watch 1 out of 16 games. It's just so important. And 90 games, yeah, the games are good. There's plenty of time to adapt and see who you got to call up, the adjustments being made, but it's also like 90 games, and now one game means a little bit more, and I think that's going to do a lot for the league.
I think that, it will increase baseball's value by a ton. The games mean more, and they're shorter. I think that the pitch clock, like you've been saying, needs to be more implemented. Most of a baseball game, the most amount of time is spent between pitches. And so if we can cut that down, it takes nothing away from the game, and you can finally make it shorter. Everyone had so much pushback to make any kind of changes, but there's some logical ones that just need to happen.
Yeah, literally, where do you go to make these games shorter? Where is the first place you go? It's in between game action.
Yeah.
Which is, a pitch clock is just going to make that faster. And I think if you enforce this thing in a serious way, changes will come. And my thing is, like, I know that players are going to hate it initially. Players probably hated the 3-point line initially and said, this is terrible, why are we doing this? And you're like, 10 years later, you're like, oh, this is actually the best thing for the league. And now our game will be pushed forward as time goes on. That's a thing that the MLB has never done. And I think it's just, players might hate it for a few years, but they're going to get used to it. We're players' league guys.
Yeah.
We're players' rights guys, 100%.
Everyone knows.
But sometimes you gotta give the vegetables to the kid, right? You can't give them what they want.
Yeah.
It's what's good for them.
Because you know what's better for them. We know
it's
what's better in the long run. If we have shorter seasons, more playoff teams, universal DH, like, it's going to be a more fun league to watch.
No, I'm down for, and I am down for more playoff teams, especially the way that the wild cards work. You work a whole 162 game season to secure this wild card game spot. It seems like a weird, not like the payoff doesn't really seem to be there. I think that if we have restructuring the playoff system a little bit would be a really cool thing, but I think it comes secondary to things like a man on second with extra innings, 7-game doubleheaders, pitch clock. These things are changes that I really do think go a super long way just in game flow, that you don't really have to you don't have to shake the whole thing up,
I feel like people's accomplishments over a 162 game season get diluted, and like legends and stars are really made in the playoffs. So if you have more playoff teams, guys like your MVP Mike Trout can finally make it into a wild card game and do something important, as opposed to his accomplishments over 160 game seasons have gone unnoticed by everyone who is not a baseball fan in all of sports. Mike Trout is the least popular MVP in any league.
And top 5 all-time least popular MVP. Like a guy who is perennially the best person in his sport.
Ratio of talent and charisma to popularity has never been this drastic.
Has never been this crazy. And I do think that the MLB can do more to show personality, right? I don't think you have to change up the whole entire game in order to have people be more of a fan and have more young kids be interested in this game. They just need to be interested in the personalities. It's the thing about the NBA. Why is there these storylines, this drama, this almost theatrical experience? Because these guys have personalities, them, and that's something that literally the NFL does better. Yet the players wearing helmets and it being such a team game, the baseball can do these things where even if it's MLB following Mike Trout playing golf or fishing, it's going to do a lot for players just saying, hey, that guy's like me. That guy, I can identify the guy. I want to root for that guy, not just that guy's good at baseball.
I want to see more fighting. I want to see more players in each other's faces. I want to see Tatis hitting grand slams up by 10 runs just to shove it in the guys' faces. I want to see drama. That's what we came for. The Astros drama brought so much attention to baseball. They want to make this the gentleman's game. There's always been. No, lean into the drama, lean into the adapt. You got to adapt or die.
Yeah, I want more people hitting grand slams when they're up by 7 runs in the 8th. Like, I want disrespect. It's weird to say that because it's such a, like you said, gentleman's game, unwritten rules, and I get that that's what's made America love baseball. But America's changed. Sports fans have changed, and the way that you create intrigue has changed. And we gotta adapt with the times, right?
Adapt or die. Adapt or die. That's all it is. Major League Baseball has never been good at adapting, and we're trying to keep them from dying. We want to look at next.